So many older women sit in silence with the same unspoken question circling in their minds. What's that smell? Is it me? The thought is quiet but heavy. It creeps in during the still moments of the day, while folding laundry, while lying in bed, while sitting across from someone and wondering if they notice too. Yet the words rarely leave their lips. Embarrassment holds them back. Shame shuts the door, and society rarely invites that conversation in the first place. But here's the truth. It's not just age. It's not just in your head. And it's not something you should ignore. Your body, after decades of carrying you through storms and struggles, may be whispering a message, one that deserves to be heard. This isn't about embarrassment. It's about clarity. It's about health. And most of all, it's about reclaiming confidence in the body that has been your most loyal companion. If you've ever caught yourself feeling uncertain, if you've ever felt your confidence slip after noticing an unfamiliar scent, know this: you are not alone. Thousands of women over 60 feel the same. The tragedy is that most never speak it out loud. Doctors rush. Society grows awkward, and the conversation fades into silence. But silence doesn't solve anything. Today, we're breaking that silence. We're talking openly, without shame, without judgment, about why your body might smell different as you age, what those changes truly mean, and what you can do about it. This isn't about hiding. It isn't about apologizing. It's about understanding, about grace, about finally listening to the whispers your body has been giving you all along. And the most empowering part, once you understand what's happening, you gain control again. Aging doesn't strip away your power. If anything, it can give you more clarity, more wisdom, and more confidence to own your health. Let's start with something deceptively simple. Water. You've heard it 1,000 times. Drink more water. But here's what most people don't realize. Hydration doesn't just affect your thirst, your skin, or your digestion. It directly impacts how your body smells, especially in those delicate areas no one talks about. When your body doesn't get enough water, waste products linger. Your kidneys can't flush toxins as efficiently. Your sweat becomes concentrated. And where do you think that shows up first? Exactly. In the areas where balance is already delicate and sensitive. A lack of hydration can lead to sour or sharp odors that feel foreign to you. It's not about being dirty. It is about chemistry. Take Mary, for example. She's 68, a grandmother who loves her garden, and for years she swore she just wasn't a water person. Coffee in the morning, soda in the afternoon, maybe juice if she remembered, and for years she noticed a faint smell she couldn't wash away. She blamed it on age, hormones, even her soaps, but nothing worked. Until one day her doctor asked a simple question: how much water do you actually drink? Mary couldn't answer, so she began tracking. 1 week later, she started drinking 8 glasses a day, sometimes plain, sometimes with a slice of lemon or cucumber. Within a month, the odor was gone. Her skin looked better. Her energy improved. But most of all, her confidence returned. Hydration is more than a chore. It's an act of self-respect. It's a way of telling your body, I'm listening, and the results speak for themselves. So let me ask you directly, how much water are you really drinking? Not coffee, not tea, not soda, pure, clean water. Track it for 1 week. Write it down. You might be shocked by the difference. And if plain water feels boring, dress it up. Lemon slices, frozen berries, a sprig of mint. Hydration doesn't have to be dull. Make it a ritual, something you look forward to, because the truth is simple. Sometimes what feels like betrayal from your body is really just your body begging for a little more attention. Now, let's talk about something you probably haven't given much thought. Your underwear. It's the very first layer your skin touches every single day. Yet for most women, underwear is about habit, about convenience, or about what's on sale. We rarely stop to think about what it's actually doing to our bodies. Synthetic fabrics, nylon, polyester, spandex are everywhere. They look sleek, they're stretchy, and they're cheap. But here's what no one tells you. They trap heat, they trap sweat, and they create an environment where bacteria thrive. It's what doctors call a closed environment. No breathability, no natural airflow. Over time, this subtle imbalance can lead to odor, irritation, and discomfort that no amount of soap will fix. Your body was designed to breathe, especially in its most delicate areas, and nothing supports that better than simple, soft, breathable cotton. Not fancy, not synthetic, just clean, natural cotton that lets your skin do what it was meant to do. Sandra, age 72, learned this the hard way. For years, she wore silky blends to bed. They looked nice, but she constantly felt uncomfortable. Subtle odors she couldn't shake. Minor irritations she dismissed as just aging. When her doctor suggested switching to cotton, Sandra laughed, but within weeks, she noticed a difference. Fresher mornings, fewer discomforts, more confidence. This is instead about style. It's steps about support. And the same goes for sleepwear. Are you sleeping in tight-fitting leggings or synthetic, or are you letting your body rest in something loose and airy? Doctors have a simple phrase for it: open environments support hygiene. Ladies, be honest with yourself. What fabrics are you wearing every day? And are they helping you or quietly holding you back? Sometimes the most powerful change starts with something as small as a drawer full of soft cotton. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt a strange sensation, maybe itching, maybe dryness, maybe just a shift in scent and brushed it off as probably nothing? If you have, you're not alone. It's one of the most common habits I see in women over 60. We tough it out. We normalize discomfort. We tell ourselves it's just age. But here's the hard truth. Common doesn't mean normal. Those small signs are your body's way of speaking up. And when it comes to intimate health, those whispers are worth listening to. You've probably heard of bacterial vaginosis, or BV. It's not rare. In fact, millions of women deal with it every year. Hormone shifts make it even more common in midlife and beyond. Then there are yeast infections. Yes, they happen after menopause too, thanks to changes in moisture balance and weakened natural defenses. And don't forget urinary tract infections. They don't always bring pain or burning. Sometimes they simply alter your scent or bring a sense of heaviness. All of these are treatable, but only if you notice, only if you act. Ignoring them doesn't make them disappear. It makes them worse. One overlooked factor here is pH balance. The intimate area has a delicate ecosystem, and it doesn't take much to disrupt it. Soaps, sweat, stress, even diet. When that balance is off, your body reacts often with odor, discharge, or subtle discomfort. But here's the real problem. Most women don't talk about it. They were taught not to. As girls, they were told to stay quiet. As mothers, to put everyone else first. And as aging women, to fade gracefully and silently. But silence is not grace. Grace is listening. Grace is taking action. Doctors say it clearly. Early detection is key. What starts as a small imbalance can become a recurring infection if ignored. But when you pay attention, when you speak up, you reclaim control. So ask yourself, have you ever brushed off a symptom only to regret it later? If you have, you're not alone. And by sharing your story, by talking openly, you may just help another woman step out of silence. Now, let's step into territory most women never hear enough about, the medical side of odor. Too often, older women are told that if something smells off, it's simply a hygiene issue. Wash more, use a spray, try a wipe, but that advice is shallow and in many cases, flat out wrong. Dr. Ayla Morris, a board-certified gynecologist with over 30 years of experience, said it best. Infections don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper. And older women have been trained for too long to ignore those whispers. Think about that for a moment. Your body may not always give you big, dramatic warning signs. Instead, it may send softer messages, a faint change in odor, a bit of dryness, or a sensation that something is different. Unfortunately, most women ignore these whispers until the problem grows louder. But you don't have to wait. You don't have to suffer in silence. Understanding what's really happening inside your body gives you the power to act early, and that's where real confidence begins. Why odor really happens after 60? Doctors point to 3 major causes. 1. Hormonal shifts. After menopause, estrogen levels drop. The vaginal walls become thinner. Lubrication decreases. The body's natural defenses weaken. This creates a more vulnerable environment where bacteria can grow, where balance is harder to maintain, and where odors may appear even if your hygiene hasn't changed. 2. Reduced immunity. As we age, the immune system slows down. That means bacteria or yeast that your body once controlled easily can suddenly take root. Even if you're showering daily, even if you're eating well, the internal defense system is simply less aggressive. And yes, the result can be noticeable scent changes. 3. Underlying health conditions. This is the one most people don't think about. Diabetes, kidney issues, certain medications, even small shifts in blood sugar or hydration can alter your body chemistry. And body chemistry in turn affects scent. Sometimes what feels like a feminine hygiene issue is actually a signal from elsewhere in the body. Here's the part many women never hear in the doctor's office. Odor is rarely just about being clean enough. It's not the soap you use. It's not how often you shower. It's deeper than that. It's about balance, chemistry, and health. And once you reframe it this way, you can start asking better questions. When to see a doctor? This question makes a lot of women nervous. What if I'm just overreacting? What if they dismiss me? What if it's nothing? But let's flip that. What if it's something you could solve easily, but only if you catch it early? Doctors say you should never ignore odor. It persists even after good hygiene. It comes with discharge that looks unusual, yellow, green, or frothy. There's stitching, dryness, or burning. You feel a sense of heaviness or discomfort, or simply, if your intuition says something is off, that last one matters most. You've lived in your body for decades. You know when something feels different. Trust that instinct. It's not weakness to ask questions. It's strength. It's wisdom. The drugstore aisle is full of products claiming to solve odor, sprays, wipes, powders, deodorants. But here's the truth most companies won't admit. These rarely fix the root cause. In fact, many make things worse. They mask symptoms, disrupt your pH balance even further, and delay real treatment. So what does work? Doctors usually recommend one of three paths: prescription treatments when there's an infection, antibiotics for BV, antifungals for yeast, hormone creams for severe dryness, pH cell balancing gels or probiotics specifically designed for vaginal health. These help restore the natural environment rather than fight against it. Lifestyle adjustments like hydration, breathable clothing, and gentle hygiene practices. These sound small, but as we saw with Mary and Sandra, they can change everything. The key is this: don't guess, don't stay silent, and don't spend months self-treating with products that only scratch the surface. Here's the hardest part: talking about it. Women over 60 grew up in an era where these topics were never discussed openly. They were told to keep quiet, to endure, to be graceful, but grace does not mean silence. Grace means courage. It means honesty. And here's the beautiful thing: the more women speak up, the more others realize they're not alone. Your story, your honesty could be the exact encouragement another woman needs to finally ask her doctor for help. So let me ask you, have you ever tried an over-the-counter product that didn't work? Have you ever brushed off a symptom only to regret it later? Share it. Talk about it. Because the more we normalize these conversations, the less power shame has over us. Yes, the body changes with age, but those changes don't erase your right to feel fresh, comfortable, and confident. They don't take away your ability to expect answers, and they certainly don't mean you should apologize for what your body is going through. Aging is not the end of control. It's the beginning of a new kind of wisdom, one where you recognize signals faster, where you advocate for yourself louder, and where you honor the body that's carried you this far. The truth is simple. Ignoring symptoms doesn't make them disappear. But listening to your body, that changes everything. Now that we've uncovered the why, let's shift to the how, because knowledge is powerful. Yes, but action is what transforms that knowledge into real change. And here's the good news: feeling fresher, healthier, and more confident doesn't require reinventing your entire life. It often starts with small, consistent habits, steps that take just a few minutes a day, yet create a ripple effect across everything else. Think of this as your daily checklist, not overwhelming, not complicated. Just a few simple shifts that respect your body and restore your balance. We already talked about how dehydration can influence odor, but let's take it one step further. Instead of thinking of water as a chore, a box to tick off, reframe it as a ritual. Start your morning with a full glass of water before coffee, before tea, before anything else. It signals to your body, today I'm paying attention. Keep a bottle nearby throughout the day and make it a companion, not an afterthought. Add lemon, cucumber, mint, or frozen berries if you need variety. The act of sipping slowly, intentionally, turns hydration into self-care. And as you begin to notice the difference, clearer skin, better digestion, fresher body chemistry, you'll realize it's not just about thirst, it's about respect. It's about listening. This one sounds almost too simple, but it's often the hidden culprit behind daily discomfort. Synthetic fabrics trap heat and sweat, creating the perfect breeding ground for odor. Switching to cotton underwear and loose-fitting sleepwear can make mornings feel lighter, fresher, and more comfortable. Doctors call it open environments. Clothing that allows airflow, that lets the skin dry naturally, that supports the body's natural balance instead of suffocating it. It's not about fashion, it's about freedom. The next time you open your dresser drawer, ask yourself, is this fabric helping me or holding me back? Sometimes the most empowering changes come from the smallest choices. Here's a big myth. More scrubbing equals more cleanliness. The truth, overwashing using harsh soaps or applying fragranced wipes often makes things worse. They strip away natural bacteria, disrupt pH balance, and trigger irritation that leads to more odor, not less. Your body is smart. It has its own natural defense system. What it needs is support, not constant interference. Use warm water. If you prefer a cleanser, choose one that's unscented and mild. Avoid alcohol-based wipes or perfumes. Think gentle, not aggressive. Hygiene isn't about erasing your body. It's about working with it. And when you approach it with kindness instead of force, your body responds with balance. This might be the hardest one emotionally, but it's also the most powerful. Too many women put off appointments because they're busy, because they're embarrassed, or because they've been dismissed in the past. But here's the truth. Your health is worth every single checkup. If something feels different, speak up. If odor persists, ask why. If discomfort lingers, don't wait. You are not being dramatic. You are not being vain. You are being wise. And if one doctor dismisses your concerns, find another. Advocate for yourself. Because the only person living in your body is you, and your intuition deserves respect. Here's a tool many women find surprisingly helpful. A simple hygiene calendar. Something you can stick on your fridge or bathroom mirror. Use it to track water intake, note subtle changes in odor, or remind yourself to schedule checkups. Why does this work? Because awareness is powerful. Once you begin noticing patterns, you can connect dots that once seemed random. A certain food, a stressful week, dehydration, these small things leave clues in your body. Tracking them gives you the clarity to act before problems spiral. Finally, let's talk about the part no doctor prescribes: mindset. Confidence doesn't come from ignoring your body or pretending nothing changes. It comes from honesty, from listening, from taking simple actions that remind you every day that you are still in control. Too often, aging is framed as decline, as loss, as something to endure. But that's not the full picture. Aging is also wisdom. It's resilience, It's the moment in life where you can finally stop apologizing and start owning your needs. Confidence doesn't mean pretending nothing bothers you. It means facing what does and handling it with grace. When you shift your mindset from shame to curiosity, from silence to action, you transform not just your health, but your entire outlook. Think of it this way. Your body has carried you through decades of storms, sacrifices, and survival. It deserves more than silence. It deserves more than embarrassment. It deserves care. Every glass of water, every choice of cotton over polyester, every gentle hygiene practice, every doctor sips visit you don't stit, postpone. These are not small acts. They are powerful declarations. I respect my body. I choose clarity over shame. I choose confidence over silence. And here's the ripple effect. When you take ownership of your body, your energy shifts. Your relationships feel different. Your mornings feel different. Even the way you look at yourself in the mirror changes, because this is not just about odor. It's about dignity. It's about control. It's about stepping into the next chapter of your life with the same strength you've always had, but now with a little more wisdom. So, take a breath, look at the checklist, and ask yourself, what's one small habit you can start tomorrow morning? Is it sipping water before coffee, swapping out synthetic fabrics, calling your doctor instead of waiting another month? Pick one. Start there. Because confidence doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from steady steps, the kind you're fully capable of taking today. And when you do, you'll discover something extraordinary. Aging doesn't take away your power, it reveals it. We've covered the hidden habits, the medical truths, and the small daily shifts that change everything. But before we close, let's step back and talk about what this really means for you. Because this conversation isn't just about hygiene, it's about something deeper. It's about reclaiming your relationship with your own body. A relationship that's been neglected, silenced, or dismissed for far too long. For many women over 60, there's a quiet grief that comes with aging. Not because of wrinkles or gray hair, those are badges of honor. The grief comes from feeling invisible, from sensing that society no longer wants to hear your voice, your concerns, or your struggles. And when it comes to something as intimate as feminine health, that silence grows heavier. But here's the truth. Silence serves no one. Not you, not your daughters, not the generations of women coming after you. By opening this conversation, you're doing something radical. You're saying, my body matters, my comfort matters, my dignity matters. That is power. Your body has always spoken to you. In your 20s, it shouted. In your 40s, it nudged. Now, in your 60s and beyond, it whispers. But the message is the same. Pay attention. Take care of me. I'm still here for you. Listening doesn't mean obsessing. It doesn't mean living in fear. It means respecting the signals, the subtle changes in odor, the shifts in comfort, the quiet reminders that your body is evolving. When you listen, you give yourself the chance to respond early, to adjust gently, to prevent small issues from becoming big ones. And more than that, listening builds trust. Trust between you and the one body that has carried you through everything. That trust is the foundation of confidence. When you begin making these small shifts, hydrating, wearing breathable fabrics, practicing gentle hygiene, tracking changes, seeing your doctor, something remarkable happens. You stop feeling at the mercy of your body. You start feeling in partnership with it. And that confidence doesn't stay tucked away in your bathroom routine. It spills into everything else. You walk differently. You speak differently. You hold your head higher because deep down you know you're not ignoring yourself anymore. You're honoring yourself. A woman who respects her body commands respect from the world. That energy is undeniable. It radiates, and it often begins with something as small as listening to whispers most people would rather ignore. I want you to imagine a woman named Evelyn. She's 74. For years, she carried quiet embarrassment, a faint odor she couldn't wash away, a discomfort she brushed off, a self-consciousness that made her avoid certain gatherings. She told herself, "It's just age. Nothing I can do." But one day, she watched a video like this one. She tried drinking more water. She swapped her synthetic underwear for cotton. She scheduled a long-delayed doctor's appointment. Within weeks, things shifted. The odor faded, the discomfort lessened, and most importantly, Evelyn began to feel like herself again. She started gardening without hesitation. She laughed louder with her friends. She rejoined her book club, and she realized something. The shame she carried wasn't really hers. It was given to her by a society that told her to stay silent. That silence ended the day she decided to listen. Here's the bigger vision. Aging doesn't have to mean decline, shame, or invisibility. It can mean wisdom, clarity, and power. But that shift begins with you. It begins with women refusing to carry silent burdens. It begins with conversations like this. The next time you hear someone brush off their symptoms or joke about just getting old, remember this. Common doesn't mean normal, and silence doesn't mean strength. Real strength is paying attention. Real strength is asking questions. Real strength is taking ownership of your health. When we normalize these conversations, we set a new standard, one where aging women don't fade into the background, but stand tall in their truth. One where confidence doesn't retire at 60, but flourishes. Let's recap in the simplest terms. Drink more water. Treat hydration like self-respect. Wear breathable fabrics. Cotton is your best friend. Practice gentle hygiene. Avoid harsh soaps and fragrances. Track changes. A simple calendar builds awareness. See your doctor. Don't apologize. Shift your mindset from shame to curiosity, from silence to action. These steps aren't just about odor. They're about reclaiming your life. They're about showing up every day with dignity and confidence. So, let me leave you with this. Your body is not betraying you. It's guiding you. It's still speaking. Softly, gently, sometimes awkwardly, but always with love. And when you listen, when you respond, when you honor it, you unlock a freedom many women never find. You've lived too long, loved too deeply, and survived too much to shrink into silence now. You are not too old to feel fresh. You are not too old to feel confident. You are not too old to demand answers. You are blooming still, and the world needs to see it. So, here's my question for you. What's one habit you'll start tomorrow morning? One small step you'll take to honor your body? Leave it in the comments, because your story may be the exact spark another woman needs. And if this video spoke to you, subscribe, share, and pass it on. Let's build a community where no woman over 60 feels invisible, unheard, or ashamed. Together we can replace silence with strength. Because this isn't just about odor, it's about power. It's about clarity. It's about living the next chapter of your life with the confidence you've always deserved.